So everybody's seeing these little track APAC graphics everywhere, but what is very misleading about these graphics, other than their numbers are just wrong, they are lumping in any pro-Israel, any pro-Jewish PAC or organization along with APAC. We can all agree that APAC is a very problematic organization, but not all Jewish organizations are in solidarity with APAC. So one organization that they lump in with the numbers here with this track APAC bullshit is an organization called J Street. Now, I didn't know anything about J Street. I just assumed that they were probably lockstep with APAC until I listened to this most recent podcast from Pod Save America. They had an individual on from JPAC, and he gave a brief overview about what they stand for and what they want. So I want to play that clip for you.
I mean, we exist because the view before us was you just got to support Israel and everything. Israel is the perfect democracy in the Middle East, the only American democracy in the Middle East. There's all kinds of problems that need to be worked out, and we need to be honest and critical with a friend of ours in Israel. But the answer isn't to tilt all the way in the other direction and to say, well, Hamas is a lot better than the Israeli government, and I'd much rather have Hamas than I would the Israeli government, and treating it as uniquely evil. Because, look, Bibi Netanyahu is a fascist, potentially an authoritarian. Donald Trump is also a fascist and authoritarian, right? Do I call America a fascist state, an authoritarian state? No, I don't. I recognize that there's huge problems here, and I operate from within that very kind of basic understanding. And I think most voters are not in these two extreme positions, right? I think at the end of the day, you have those who are from the beginning inside the Democratic Party have said, here's the AIPAC position. We're going to support Israel no matter what. And then there's where Hassan is, which is to argue that Israel is this kind of uniquely evil or deeply, deeply problematic state, where the reality is, I think you find most, at least American voters, I would argue, and you can look at polling that shows this, that can say, hey, what I really want is for all Jews in Israel and all Palestinians to have freedom, security, equality, a state of their own. That's what we're arguing for at J Street. I can be horrified by the acts of October 7th by Hamas, and I can be horrified by the horrific actions that the Israeli government has perpetrated in Gaza against Palestinian civilians. I can really hate Bibi Netanyahu, and I can have some sympathy for the Israeli people at the same time. I can recognize that anti-Semitism is a real problem, and I can also recognize that criticism of Israel is not anti-Semitism, and that even very sharp criticism of Israel and anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Because I also think that's where most Democratic voters are. That's where I would say most normie voters, Democratic voters are. Certainly American Jews that I talk to, and that's what J Street was founded to represent, was that this is where most American Jews are. They're not where AIPAC is. But it's also, I think, just not where, even if we have some folks on the base who are going further left, I think that there's just a huge constituency for this very common sense view that I'm expressing.
No two Jewish organizations are the same. And anybody who is sharing these track AIPAC graphics are trying to make you think that they are. And if you believe that and you're sharing that, you are just spreading and purporting anti-Semitism. That's why it's very important for us to have discernment, to do our own research, to critically think and have these nuanced conversations. What are your thoughts about this?